he's a very, very special kid, pulling out some absolutely incredible times. And the amount of like distance he's put between himself and the entire rest of the field is just stunning. Like it is just ridiculous.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Plus 3, the show where we talk to and you listen. I'm Matt Rossman, joined by John Eppley and Manu Singal. Gentlemen, how are you doing?
I will definitely talk to the people today.
Yeah. We're really forcing this meme. We're really forcing a dead meme already.
Is it dead? Is talk to a dead podcast?
I feel like it's kind of outlived its work.
Stop.
We're not.
It's on top of the
game.
We are chasing Talk to Him. That is every day when we wake up. That is who we are striving to be, and we're not there yet. Cut the slander.
Look, we're not striving.
You know, I like that. I like that energy. Yeah, you're right. We should rename this. Like, forget plus 3. We should be plus 2. I like that.
Plus 2. Hold on.
Copyright that right now. Don't let them steal
Wait,
that.
actually, plus 2. Wait a second. That might actually go hard.
We're gonna have to get rid of one of us.
Okay.
That's fine. We're definitely getting rid of Roswell. That's for sure.
Exactly. I'm the problem here. You guys are the intellect. I'm just
hey, at least our video feeds are smooth. You're just literally like Mr. Slideshow. So.
I'm moving like a PowerPoint. Anyway, all right. We need to stop talking. We need to stop talk-to-ing about Talk-to-a and get down to some major business. I don't like talking about this kid as much as I do, but here we are. We're talking about Yiheng again. The 3x3 world record average has been broken. 4:05. Sub 4 is in sight. Look, let's just get some initial thoughts. John, Manu, what do you guys got?
Dude, man, I actually cannot believe how much this kid has taken over speed cubing this year, and in general over the last 2 years. It's just incredible. I mean, there's like loads of reconstructions out there. I think Brian Sen has some reconstructions. Dylan Miller has a really good video on the reconstructions if you want to check that out. His solutions are just amazing. Like, they're very efficient. They're pretty efficient, at least. About as efficient as CPOP is going to get. Every single solve from this recent 405 average was below the average of 60 moves. And that's including some like pretty bad cases. He had like W into N perm, I think, on one of those. So, you know, he's like doing pretty well, at least in like F2L stage. And his control of EO has gotten like so much better over the last year. And what I think is like particularly impressive is he's able to maintain some pretty high TPS going through all these solves. I think his average TPS on these solves was like close to like 13, which is pretty impressive. And the only solve where he had like 10 TPS, that was the one where he was like visibly disappointed. So he's a very, very special kid, pulling out some absolutely incredible times. And the amount of like distance he's put between himself and the entire rest of the field is just stunning. Like, it is just ridiculous. We hear, you know, when I heard that this news dropped, I was in a hotel room because I was in Vegas for a competition, and Chris Martin is, you know, staying in the hotel room with us, and he's just like, of course Yiheng broke another world record, but we're getting numb to this, man. Like, he's like out here just demolishing the field of speed cubing, and we're all just like, of course it's Yiheng, it's another world record. That just goes to show just how incredible, like, he is going into the history books for sure.
And on that note, the last time I remember experiencing this feeling was with Felix. So, I mean, Felix had 13 world record averages between 2010 and 2019. And it felt like it was happening all the time. But, 13 records in almost a decade for 3x3 average, where Yiheng now has 7 in less than 2 years. So, he has more than half as many, but it took him a fifth the amount of time. So you give Yiheng a whole decade of dominance, and who knows where he's going to go. So this really feels unprecedented. And what's even more incredible is, of course, these world records get harder and harder to break every time. So, he's setting a new pace of dominance, while also, every world record that's set, it sets the bar that much higher. So it's pretty incredible to see how dominant he is in a time where it's just that much harder to be the best.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's like Manu said. Yiheng is Alexander the Great, and everyone else is just getting conquered. Look, I mean, like, but it is a real thing. Just the distance that Yiheng has now put between himself and everyone else. Like, we already thought it was big when it was 409, and now it's like the bar keeps getting pushed further and further. And look, Timon and Wuheng and Chuanyi are all incredible, and Garrett and Max. Like, you have all these sub 5 solvers who are great, but none of them are on the level. Like, we're looking at the LeBron James or Tom Brady, the GOAT. We're witnessing the GOAT. Now, I want to ask Manu something, because you said that we're reaching peak efficiency with CFOP. Now, I just want to ask, could we see, this is like so far in the future, this is a big hypothetical, do you think we could reach a point of post CFOP solving, like post CFOP usage in speed solving to get even faster times?
Yeah, so I think we are almost there. Like, okay, I think almost there is probably a little overhyped, but I mean, Xuanyi is a post CFOP solver, right? The ultimate, the end goal, as we can see right now, for 3x3 speed solving is going to be ZB. And it will be, you can 2-look the solve. You figure out how to do F2L and 3 of your F2L pairs in inspection. And then as that's happening, you can just track the rest of the pieces, make sure that everything ends up oriented as you go into your last pair, and then you just have ZBLS. Like ZBLS, ZBLL. That's it. That is going to be the future of speed cubing. Now, it will take a long time to get there. And one thing that I think is really interesting, and Dilly Millie actually put that in the description of his video as well, is there's a lot of like trade-offs between using CFOP versus ZB, right? There's like a recognition trade-off versus a efficiency trade-off. ZB is like shorter, but the recognition is a lot, and there's loads and loads and loads of cases. We're getting like to the point where there's going to be like close to about 1,000 cases that you're going to need to learn if you want to be able to do full ZB, and that's not even considering doing like AUF recognition and things like that too. So, that is going to be the end goal, but I think for now, CFOP is in like a really, really good position as the top solvers just keep on refining it. And it's just incredible to see. But yeah, I think it is a good question, but I think he's on top for a reason. He is like pushing CFOP to its limits, and that's the way that he's able to get such amazing times.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see kind of how it develops, and I think let's just talk for a second, like, about how anyone else right now is going to catch up to Yiheng. Like, I know we got talking some hypotheticals, and it's not just going to be anyone. I'm not going to sit here and point out someone who's done like 3 competitions and be like, oh, this guy is going to take over cubing, take the crown from Yiheng. Like, as of right now, the only people who I have full confidence in are Xuanyi, Wuheng, and Timon. I don't have faith in Max or Luke Garrett. I'm sorry, NA, but those other 3 guys are just on a different level. But what kind of path do really just any of the sub 5 solvers need to take? Or what do they need to do? What do they need to accomplish? How do they need to train in order to even get past like, a sub 4.5 second average? We just got to move the needle a little bit from Timon's solve first before we can even start considering, like, because at this point, I think to beat Yiheng, it's going to have to be sub 4. It's going to have, like, yes, there's the little 0.05 a second window, but, like, what kind of pathway do these guys need to take to kind of rise to the top and be number 1?
I think that there's something to be said about there's the king in the sense of who has the world record, but also who's the world champion. And right now, that's not Yiheng. That has never been Yiheng. Yiheng has, never earned that title where, that's something that adds a whole nother level. Yes, he has gotten the best averages consistently over and over at these local competitions and even big competitions, but he doesn't have the long list of big competition wins like some others. So what is what is a real winner? What shows your dominance? Is it breaking these world records, or is it when holding this title over many years? He maybe this could just be a flash in the pan where he's breaking a lot of world records right now, but maybe he's not very clutch and he doesn't go to these big competitions because it's not his thing. So I think there's something to be said about the style of solver. Like Luke Greiser, I think he's one of those clutch solvers. I think that you might not see his day-to-day average be quite what Yiheng has, but when it comes down to worlds, I think I have far more confidence in Greiser to be dialed and fully confident in that moment, where Yiheng has shown different levels of confidence in these big stages.
Yeah, I think it'll just remain to be seen. I mean, if you're not named Yiheng Wang, you don't have a chance, I think, right now. I think you just don't have a chance. Like, he's just ridiculously far ahead, and this goes back to what I was saying earlier. I think we're getting numb to some of his results, dude. Like, I think, like, the last competition he went to, he had, like, 426 average, and, like, no one talked about it. Like, we just accepted it. Like, yeah, he just casually got 426 average in, like, round 3 or whatever. And it's just like, okay, yeah, whatever. Like, he is, like, so far ahead of the field that I don't think anyone has a chance right now. I personally think the best one who has a chance is probably Timon, just because of his creativity, right? I think he can see a lot more, and he can take advantage of some really, really special cases. And I think he can turn kind of like mid-tier cases into special ones, just because he's just so good at, like, the way that he manipulates the cube and the pieces is just very, very special. So I think he has the best chance personally. Shrunny, of course, is obviously an amazing solver in his own right, but I think all of the pieces will kind of need to line up. And even for Yiheng, obviously, like, he needs to get some pretty good luck in order to get scrambles like the ones that he got anyway. If you go through the reconstructions, his crosses are not particularly special. There's only one where his cross is, like, kind of really weird, but most of the time he just does almost pretty simple CFOP stuff for the most part. So luck is going to play a bigger and bigger factor, especially when it comes to the world record average going forward.
Yeah, and I think before we move on to our next topic here, I just want to say, I think what I want to see next, I think there's a couple things that I want to see next from Yiheng, just because as a fan of this stuff, I always want to see the best do even more and shine even brighter. So I want to see, personally, I don't know how Yiheng is training, I don't know what he's training specifically. I want to see him take the 2x2 record outright. I think it's very possible. I think it's the next closest thing for him to really achieve and really to, run with. So, I mean, I'm excited for that. I'm excited just anytime, like you were saying, Manu, we really should be more excited for these results. Because it's like, it is seeing someone put up, like, this is Wilt Chamberlain averaging 50 points a game against plumbers, okay? This is the reality we're living in. This is, like, again, this is the 20XX of cubing. But, no, I'm excited to see what comes next, and I'm excited to see if anyone is going to stop this man, because this man needs to be stopped. This man is breaking the sport, man. Hey, pardon my coughing. I want to get into very quickly, well, not very quickly, but we had some comments on our last video, kind of just general interest stuff about age in cubing and kind of the culture around it. So we pulled a few comments from that video. I know I already responded to most everyone who commented on there, but we're going to take a little time and just talk through. We're going to talk to her. We are going to talk to her, and we are going to talk through some of these comments. John, you want to go first?
Yeah, this one is from Daniel Ujif, I believe. And what I really appreciated about this comment is something I've been thinking about a lot, is that these cubers, these young cubers, are benefiting from the best knowledge available. So they are taught, ZB method, they are taught dual color neutral, they are taught everything that has been proven to be the most efficient to the best of our knowledge. So they're not starting with all these bad habits that, older cubers like I have. I started my algorithms off Bob Burton's CubeWiz website, and I'm willing to bet I still use a lot of those CubeWiz algorithms, and it probably dates me quite a bit. I have younger cubers sometimes see my algorithms, and that's how they'll know my age. So I think it is an interesting conversation to see that as someone is born into the sport, that they have they can kind of pigeonhole themselves into just the most efficient method possible. They don't need to do all this trial and error and learning what works best. Like, they are just designed and programmed to be a world record machine, which is, I think, a lot of what we're seeing with Yiheng right now.
Yeah, I mean, sorry. I want to actually talk about this comment from Chaos Cubed a little bit, because I think it provides a really interesting look at like how older competitors motivate themselves and kind of find joy in the thing. Basically, like going to competitions to compete against yourself, because I think that's a lot of value in keeping your interest going, keeping your passion going. Is, well, okay, if I'm not gonna be able to compete with these other kids, if I'm being told like oh, I'm old, I can't compete, well, at least I have the times that I have before, that I've placed before, as kind of a measuring stick. And it's just seeing your own personal progress. Like he said, there are a few events for which I'm in the top 5,000 in the world, top 2,000 in the country, and I think that's just as amazing of an achievement. And it really is. Like imagine being like the top 2,000 in the United States in anything. I mean, for the most part, that's good, and I think it's just really cool to see like that kind of motivating factor. And I hope that a lot of I hope that everyone is doing that, at all ages. We chase the world record, but it might be more rewarding sometimes to just prove that you can be better than you were. Because I think at the end of the day, that's all what anyone wants, is to just end up better than they were at an earlier point in their life. I think that's it. And with competing like that, why are you laughing at that? Why are you smiling
Which is
about
beautiful.
that for?
It's wholesome. Dude.
It's so wholesome. Yeah.
Yeah, but no, that's the sentiment, and I think it's really cool to see that.
Yeah, and then I'll talk about a comment that I particularly like. This one is from Doomer12. And the main bulk of the comment that I think is really interesting is that this podcast, and there's some other places on the cubing internet, if you will, that are a little bit more like adult oriented, and that like kind of keeps them involved. And I think I can relate to that to a significant portion. Like, I have a lot of friends in cubing, and that's partially just because like I've been cubing for so long. But I throughout like these many years of cubing, there's been friends who show up, and there's friends who kind of fall off. And honestly, if I didn't have like friends my age, or like obviously like my age widens as you get older, right? But if I didn't have friends at least around like the same age I am, and like the same like stage of life, I think cubing would become less fun. I think that's just the reality of the situation. So I certainly think it's a very interesting thing to think about like, how do we keep motivated to continue to do this hobby? Because it is just a hobby at the end of the day, right? Like, you need to be able to converse with people who have like similar life experiences as you, or honestly, I think it's kind of fun to go to events where there are people who are older than you, because you can like learn from them a lot of the time too. So I thought that was all pretty interesting. And then the last thing I definitely want to talk about is about how like the kids are kind of running away with everything, and maybe it's time to have like official like rankings, or like separate leaderboards, right? Whatever, for like seniors division, if you will, and maybe we start seniors division at 20 or something like that. Yeah, this is something that I've been thinking about more recently too, and alongside the recent CubeCast about recognizing the women's world record or the female world records, I think I'm becoming more and more of the opinion that it's high time that cubing starts to break out into separate leaderboards. And obviously we can maintain like the full leaderboard with everyone, but we also just have like the supplementary rankings so that we can give everyone a little spotlight. I think that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah. Hey, before we get into the highlight of the week, we actually have a question. We haven't had a question come from someone in a few episodes, but Michael Rosenkrantz has decided to send in a question. We're gonna see what that is here in a moment. I just want to say quickly, like, when we saw this clip, when we saw this question, we were all so impressed. Michael, get on the podcast, man. This is me making a request to you as someone who wants professionals in cubing. Get on the podcast. Roll that question.
Hi everybody, Michael Rosencrans here with you, and if I look familiar, you might have seen me on Speedcubing TV calling Indiana Championships 2024 this past November for the community going forward. But I want to ask you guys a question. What would you guys like to see in future broadcasts on Speedcubing TV? Would it make more sense for professional broadcasters to take the reins on play-by-play, where they may not know cubing as much but can bring that sense of professionalism to a live stream? Or would it make more sense for just strictly cubers to do play-by-play and analyst for you, since they know more about the community, know more about the storylines, and obviously know more about the algorithms and the general sense of speed cubing? So we'd love to hear your thoughts. Put them down in the comments below of the current video you're watching right now. We'll do our best to respond to each and every one of you. I'll be looking at suggestions as well, because we'll be talking about these going forward, and should be fun to implement going forward. But that's it from me. I thank you guys so much for listening to me ramble on and on and on, just a little bit about me and how I got the connection with cubing. But I'm going to send you back to the crew at +3. Matt, John, Manu, take it away.
Thanks, Rosencrans, for the question. I think, seeing stuff in future broadcasts, like, we're always thinking about the future. We're always thinking about how we can make these broadcasts better. Certainly adding Rosencrans, at least I feel, was a big step. I'll just sit here as a big fan of him. But yeah, down in the comments below, like Rosencrans said, tell us your thoughts. Tell us any thoughts, really. We're going to, as always, we're going to be responding to every one of your comments, and next week we're going to talk about it a little bit more. But highlight of the week. We've got to go to the other guy who we always talk about, and that is Timon Kolasinski, the 4x4 world record 2, European record average of 1974. Manu, break this down.
Yeah, here we go, man. It sucks that he got relegated to be the other guy in this conversation, but I mean, like I said, he is one special speedcuber, and if there's one thing that Timon can do that Yiheng can't, it's be competitive in these bigger cubes. 4x4, the WR2 average 19.74. As it's playing in the background here, you'll see that he actually got like somewhat lucky, 4 out of 10 parodies, which is, like relatively lucky, but it's also not absurdly lucky. A parody being like, 50% chance of it happening. You'll see that he uses a lot of ZB in here also, which is pretty interesting to see being used on big cubes. For many years, we thought that ZB was kind of pointless to do on a big cube, since, you don't have like the same ergonomics as you do on a 3x3. Also, that we didn't mention, but he also got the ER average of 36.34 at this competition as well in the UK, which puts him 2 seconds behind Max. But I mean, this is the one thing I think Timon is really going to shine at the World Championships. These big cubes. I'm really excited to see his progress.
Yeah, it was very cool to see. This is, at least for me, my first time really getting to appreciate how efficient he is at using rotations and using slice moves. To me, I feel like I'm always fumbling my 4x4, and it's very hard to do, let's say, a lowercase u prime and just do a slice move. But it seems like he's very, very efficient and almost slicing as well as like a 4-blinder. So it was really cool to see that, and it makes me want to see how he does 6 and 7 and maybe what I can learn from that. But a couple other things that I thought were really, really cool from this. 1974 was the average. 1974 was when the 3x3 was invented. Coincidence? Probably not. Also, Joey Gooley was his judge for this average, which is just such a throwback for me. I feel like a lot of people watching the show were probably like born after Joey started competing. He's got a 2007 ID, but just a legend, and we have to shout out where shout outs are due. Really cool to see him as a judge. And also, is a stat I thought that was pretty interesting about this. This is the 10th ever sub 24x4 average. So only 10 times has this result ever happened. 6 of them are by Max Bark, 2 of them are by Sebastian, and then 2 of them are now by Timon. So this is his second time getting a sub 20 average. But you can also see that he's got some competition, Max being the one with the most results, sub 20. So I would love to see all 3 of these guys at Worlds. I'm sure all of them have it bookmarked, and it's not going to be an easy one between parity and just who's feeling it that day. I think this is going to be one of the most electric finals to watch this year.
I always say that 4x4 is the most interesting event to watch. I know the competitors hate 4x4 because of just like parity and how much it can ruin us all. But I'll tell you, if I see one guy get parity and the other one doesn't get parity, as a viewer, I am tuned in. So keep an eye on 4x4. I think it's going to be really, really fun.
Absolutely. Again, congratulations to Timon. Congratulations to Yiheng. Gentlemen, anything else? Anything else to declare or state?
I think I've done enough talking to these guys.
We've done enough talking to someone needs to we need a talk to a counter for this episode.
In the comments, please. Someone
in the comments, someone please. No, I got someone in the comments. I want you to timestamp every time talk to is said. I feel like that would be a really great usage of time.
Then we'll clip it all together and we'll send it to Hailey, and we'll see if she'll come on the pod.
Oh, yo, that's a great idea.
Hey,
that's
come
a great
on.
idea.
Listen, hey, we can get interviewed for Talk to It. +3 Talk to It collaboration. Listen, we can scam people with crypto as well. I mean, it's great.
We got the +3.
And we just lost the collaboration. But anyway, thanks for watching +3, everybody. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, subscribe to SpeedQing TV. Big things coming. Always big things coming. Yeah, I think that about covers it. Congratulations to Timon and Yiheng. Thanks for watching. Be sure to comment, and we'll see you in the next video. See you guys.